So exercise 8 is pages 27 to 30 in your workbook. This is actually one of my, well, maybe not my favorite, but one of the biggest lessons I had coming away from me taking these courses is for me to have a look at my human or my basic human behavior in this capacity. So these are the pages, like I said, pages 27 to 30. So just a recap from exercise 7. So you were to, on exercise 7 is make a list of the they made me's and I have to's. You were to make a list of the negative emotions that you feel or you experience with the I have to's in your life. So you should have this page complete. That's going to be important because we're going to be using this page in exercise 8. All right, so for the purpose of exercise 8 and for all of our courses is these negative emotions, we refer to these negative emotions as grungies. So when you hear me mention grungies in exercise 8 here is consider the negative emotions you have written on this page. So grungies can show up like this, all negative emotions. So it could be martyr, resentment, sickness, tired, jealousy. So I'm just gonna give you a second to read those. All of these could be grungies, but not limited to. So if you have another negative emotion that's not on here, you could also consider that to be a grungie. It will still work for the purpose of this exercise for you to work with it. Okay, so I'm going to move on. If you want more time to review those, hit pause right now. So we're going to have a look at this idea of payoff and protections. So these are in every grungie that we have is that we have an associated payoff and protection. So I want you to stay with me for a second because I know your automatic reaction. So if I were to ask you, what is your payoff for the grungie anger? Your automatic reaction is going to be, there's no payoff. There's no way that that serves me. And on the surface, that's true. But if you look a little deeper at what actually the payoff is for something, is that it's you need to examine the motivation behind the emotion or behavior. And most cases, it's not something that we're proud of or pleased that we participate or play in. So in all of those grungies that you wrote down in exercise 7, consider the motivation or the driver for that emotion or behavior. So I'm going to give you some examples on what I mean by this. So this idea of anger. So when we're angry, our goal or the motivation behind us being angry really is to manipulate the people or the situation in order to get what you want. And so you see this all the time at the customer service desks, whenever like you're trying to return something, is that people get angry at the agents because they want to manipulate them into receiving the return or taking the return back. Anger is used as a way to manipulate people in the situation. So if you do a lot of anger in your life, consider what it is that you really want, and could you get that in a clean way? Victimization. So victimization is another grungie played really well. And the payoff for victimization is that you have an excuse for something. You have an excuse for slacking off. Maybe you have an excuse for being righteous. Maybe you have an excuse for checking yourself out of a situation. When you play in this grungie of victimization, it is giving you an excuse. The payoff is giving you an excuse for something. So what is it? If that's you, there's going to be, if you look in your workbook on the payoffs and protection, is that you can get more of insight there, and we're getting there in a moment. Now, martyr. I do martyr really well in my life. So the martyrs are the people who show up with the grungie of martyr like me. They're the ones who give and give and give and give and give in the world. They're probably the ones, if again, they're like me, is that if you feel like you're not getting acknowledgement in your life, you're the ones who vacuum really loud and hit the walls, or slam the cupboard doors closed, or you load the dishwasher really loud because now you're being martyred. And there's sometimes I don't even want to do something, but just in my martyr kicks in and I'll do all the house chores really loudly so all of my family hears. That is being a martyr. What martyrs are looking for is acknowledgement. The truth about martyrs, if you acknowledge the martyrs in your life, they're good for another 100,000 miles, is if you just give them acknowledgement. Okay, the last one we're going to look at today is guilt. If you do the grungy of guilt, the payoff is that you actually don't have to change the behavior. So guilt is caused when you have a belief that's out of alignment with your behavior. So this example of, I believe in not littering, I believe in keeping the environment healthy, but then let's say I'm driving down the road and something flies out of the back of my truck. I'll have this moment of, I'll feel guilty about that, because my belief of I need to play a part in keeping our earth clean, and the behavior of something flying out of the back of my truck, they don't align. And so the payoff is that I actually don't have to change the behavior. So I can keep driving down the highway because I'm now paying the price in my guilt. Right? So same idea is if you believe in monogamy, but you are having an affair on your partner, is that you're paying the price in the form of the guilt. Your payoff is that you actually don't have to change the behavior. So you could change the belief about your belief about relationships, whether it be polyamory or monogamy, or you could stop having an affair. Right? You can change the belief or change the behavior, and it takes you out of guilt. That's the solution for it. But the payoff for guilt is that you don't have to change the behavior. So here is the page that I was mentioning earlier, is about these payoffs. So your homework, or your exercise 8, is take these negative emotions from exercise 7, have a look at the list and the payoffs chart, and see what is your associated payoff for that behavior. And then what you're going to do is you're going to list it into exercise 8. So choose your top 3 grungies, and then have a look and search for your motivation for those grungies. That is exercise 8.